The number one question you should be asking yourself when you see this leak is this price even possible? The problem I have is that even before I saw this leak, I said that this is the lowest price that the Xbox Ally could possibly debut at. So I'm a little inclined to believe that this leak is possible, if for no other reason than confirmation bias. But that's why I want to bring it to you all so we can talk about it and talk about the track record of this particular leaker to investigate whether or not this information is worth our time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a new leak that claims that the Xbox Ally will debut at an MSRP of $499 and the Xbox Ally X will debut at an MSRP of $799. The leak also claims that pre-orders will go live for both in August and that the handhelds will have an official release in October. These two handhelds were just announced at the Xbox Game Showcase a little over a week ago now, and all of this info comes courtesy of a leaker named Xstasis, who has had both hits and misses in the past. And like I said, that's part of what I want to explore in this video. Is Xstasis a actually reliable source? Is this something to be believed, or should his track record lead us to be more dubious? Now, as you probably know, the Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X are both being manufactured by Asus, but in partnership with Microsoft. One is clearly being positioned as the more affordable option, and the other put forth as the luxury handheld for those with more disposable income. It's kind of like Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X, but with honestly less of a difference in performance. Of course, the better comparison is probably ROG Ally and ROG Ally X, which are two handhelds that Asus released in 2023 and 2024 respectively. This time around, though, Asus is working with Microsoft, and that partnership seems pretty meaningful here because it includes things that have never been done in Windows handhelds. There's now an official Xbox button. The luxury model has impulse triggers just like a real Xbox Series controller, and for the first time ever, there's going to be a big change under the hood of Windows that Microsoft is calling the Xbox experience for handhelds. Frankly, it seems that Microsoft has seen the success of the Steam Deck and other PC handhelds and has realized that this fits their new everything is an Xbox strategy exceedingly well. However, although this is all good news for PC gaming, it does seem like traditional Xbox gaming is taking a backseat to Xbox gaming on PC. There are reports from extremely reliable investigators that a more traditional Xbox handheld was also in the works, but that handheld has either been sidelined or more recently canceled, depending on which story you believe to be true. Additionally, there are credible reports that these Xbox Ally handhelds will serve as a test bed for Microsoft's expansion or return, depending on how you look at it, to PC gaming. Basically, there is reason to believe that we may have seen the last traditional Xbox consoles, with Microsoft instead considering making PC the official Xbox platform. Just imagine that your next Xbox will be made by Asus, MSI, or Lenovo, and you can install Steam on it and even play PlayStation games like Stellar Blade or the upcoming Marvel Tokon. There is even proof that Microsoft seems to be working on Xbox emulation on PC so that you can bring your current Xbox library over to this PC-based future of Xbox. This bit of context is important to whether or not the idea of a $499 Xbox Ally is even possible. Make no mistake, this would be an incredible bargain for the kit you get with the Xbox Ally. It would be enough for it to be an easy recommendation over the Steam Deck, and frankly, it would put to shame the pricing of the Switch 2, which launched at and is obviously still priced at $450. Even if the Xbox experience for handhelds is a flop, or even if the Xbox Ally sell terribly, you would still have a $500 gaming PC that you can use with Windows, or you can even choose to install SteamOS or Bazzite if you prefer. The CPU in the white Xbox Ally is said to be the successor to the CPU in the Steam Deck, so performance will be improved over the Steam Deck. Battery life would presumably be improved. The capacity of the battery is going to be bigger than what's in the Steam Deck or Steam Deck OLED. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi would be improved as well. The screen is considerably better than the LCD display on the $400 Steam Deck, and it could be argued that the 7-inch 120Hz 1080p display is even better than the OLED screen on the Steam Deck OLED OLED, which starts at $550. All of that, and this is a handheld that will be able to run either Windows or SteamOS. Even in the unlikely event that it won't be able to run SteamOS specifically, it will be able to run Bazzite, which I would argue is at least as good. There are plenty of people that don't want to run Windows on their PC handhelds, and that's fine, but the advantage of greater compatibility with modern multiplayer games just can't be denied, at least from a mainstream perspective. Arguably, the Xbox Ally at $500 would be a better piece of kit than the Steam Deck OLED at $550 unless you absolutely need trackpads. This is why we have to ask, is a $500 Xbox Ally even possible, let alone plausible? When I asked my community this question, about 1/3 said, sure, it's plausible, and 2/3 said it's definitely going to be priced higher. One commenter even said $499 would be a miracle. I seriously doubt it. Personally, I tend to agree. In my humble opinion, there is only one possibility out of 14,605,000 where the Xbox Ally is priced at $499, and that is if Microsoft is subsidizing the handheld in the first place. Certainly, Microsoft wouldn't even bother to subsidize if they weren't planning an aggressive expansion back onto PC, but because they are making it clear that PC is a big part of their strategy, I think that is why many outlets are even willing to entertain this leak. It's about as low in price as you can go without making it clear that you're just making a number up. Here is a clip of me even before this leak saying that $499 is the lowest possible price that the Xbox Ally could reach, and that was with me entertaining the possibility that Microsoft would help subsidize this handheld. The most aggressive that we could possibly see on the Xbox Ally, the white one, I think is $499. So the new question becomes, is Xbox willing to subsidize this handheld? The first commenter in my poll saw right through my initial question and immediately got to brass tacks. They said simply, Xbox isn't going to subsidize this product. Another commenter said Microsoft doesn't have the same certainty as Valve that customers will offset their investment loss on hardware with selling software. I think this is a really important point. Valve can have high confidence that if you buy a Steam Deck, you're going to buy Steam games. Microsoft can't possibly have that same level of confidence as Valve, which seems evident considering how much Microsoft is embracing Steam. Microsoft knows that if you buy this hardware, chances are pretty good that you're going to still buy some games on Steam, if not most. But another commenter said this. They said, I mean, with Microsoft money, it's plausible. And to be honest, this commenter has a point. Microsoft, more than Valve, more than Nintendo, and even more than Sony, is pretty capable of losing money for a long time if they think it'll lead to the user acquisition that is so important to them. Ultimately, what Microsoft would like to see is more and more people subscribing to Game Pass because that is the golden goose of recurring revenue that virtually all companies are looking for. But unlike most companies, Microsoft can play the long game and lose money for years before they get to that recurring revenue. How willing they are to do that seems a bit unclear to me personally right now, but certainly a $499 Xbox Ally would make it exceedingly clear that Microsoft doesn't mind investing lots of money into this long-term plan. So if we're going to decide whether or not this leak is real, we have to apply some scrutiny to the leaker. So who is Xstasis and how reliable are they really? The Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit actually has a really nice tier system for known sources just like Xstasis. In Tier 1, they have very reliable sources. These are sources that have a proven track record with leaks and claims made about previously unknown gaming information. They say that this is the cream of the crop, the tip of the top, and the best tier when it comes to reliability. People like Jason Schreier, Tom Henderson, Jeff Grubb, and Nate the Hate are in this tier. Tier 2 is considered to be generally reliable. They say that this tier is for leakers who have made a good amount of true claims in the past. Everything might not be perfect, but they are a generally reliable source at the current time. Here we see folks like Tom Warren from The Verge, Jez Corden, and Imran Khan. Tier 3 is 50-50, and this tier is for leakers who are pretty much 50-50 on what they claim. There's a good chance they're right, but there's also a good chance they're wrong. Take your pick, as it says in the subreddit. Here in Tier 3 is where we find Xstasis. Obviously, these tiers aren't static. You can go up and down depending on how your track record shifts over time. In particular, I've seen Xstasis be as high as tier 2 as recently as 5 months ago, but more recently you can see that he has been in tier 3. Recently, he was right about Silksong showing up at the Xbox Game Showcase and Neo 3 being in development. Then again, he also claimed that The Elder Scrolls 6 would be shown at Xbox Game Showcase and that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 would be shadow dropped at the Xbox Summer Showcase. So what's going on here? How is he actually 50-50? Well, I'm a little more tuned into PC gaming and especially Valve, so if you take a look at his leaks in those areas, you can get a better idea of what is actually happening. 1 month ago, Xstasis revealed that Sony will release a PlayStation Portable handheld in 2026/2027, along with a PlayStation 6, and that Valve is working on a stationary console. These are things that have been rumored for a long time, and I've discussed both of those rumors on this channel well before 1 month ago. And when I did discuss these things, they came from much more credible sources. He's also been dropping a bunch of rumors about Activision games that will come to Game Pass, and this is where I think he gives the game away. Basically, it kind of seems like Xstasis is saying stuff that is likely to be true, regardless of what sources he may or may not have. Like, I can predict that From Software is going to show off a game at Summer Games Fest and probably have a 50% chance of being right. Valve working on a stationary console is an open secret at this point, and although he turned out to be wrong, it would be reasonable to guess that THPS 3+4 is a really good shadow drop candidate. This is essentially why Xstasis' reputation has gone from being generally reliable to 50-50 in the span of 5 months. When you get stuff right, it looks good, but as you get more predictions wrong, it begins to look like you're just guessing. So in the case of the Xbox Ally, is he right? Will the base model be $499 with the higher end model coming in at $799? Will they release in October with pre-orders going up in August? Personally, I'd say there's a 50-50 chance. What do you think? Tech Gang out. Goodbye.